So let's bow in. Good evening, everyone. And tonight we're going to go over, we're going to go over the material for the last chapter in Francesca Fremantle's book, Luminous, Emptiness. This is about the bardo of becoming. To remind you, and go over it again, there are 6 main bardos. I mean, everything is a bardo. There's the bardo of this class. It has a beginning and an end. Bardo means interval, literally means from to, bar, do. And there's the bardo of this class, but there are 6 main bardos that we experience in the course of our lives. 3 of them have to do with life. There is the bardo of life, which begins at the moment that you are born, maybe at the moment you are conceived, and ends at the advent of the conditions that are going to kill you at the end of your life. Within that bardo of life, there are 2 subsidiary bardos. The bardo of dream, which you experience when you fall asleep and dream, and the bardo of meditation, which you experience whenever we sit down to meditate, or anybody sits down to meditate. Then there are 3 more bardos, important bardos. They are the 6 main bardos. These have to do with death. The first of these is called the painful bardo of dying, and it describes and consists of the death of your body, first of all. Your body is described in terms of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, consciousness, earth, water, fire, wind, and consciousness. And we could describe this life in terms of various ways of materiality. This is one of them. That everything that we experience has some or all of these 5 qualities: earth, very heavy, earthiness; wind, motility, motion, the wind is moving; fire is heat, so forth. This bardo is the bardo that begins, as I say, when you're born, ends when you die. The bardo, when you die, first of all, the physical elements fall away. Western medicine would say that when your heart is stopped, you have died. Buddhism says no, it goes on after that. And what goes on is the mental processes. And there are primarily 3 main areas of this. In the mind, there are the multiple thoughts of aggression, thoughts of desire, and thoughts of indifference. And these all go through a process of coming down from the top of the head, the thoughts of aggression, up from the groin, the thoughts of desire, and into the heart where the thoughts of indifference abide. And when they meet, there is a moment of awakening that can occur. They say that when it does occur, it only occurs for people who have practiced enough, and that it's full enlightenment as all this happens. And this is the actual physical death of the human being, and it's the birth into enlightenment itself. And they describe it as like a child leaping into its mother's lap and arms. And I'm mentioning that because this image appears later in the text in the chapter. The second bardo of the realm of death is the bardo of dharmata, and that's what we're going to be dealing with a lot tonight. In that experience, you see the world as it really is, which is divine, enlightened, stripped of confusion and suffering. And it consists of mainly sort of 2 rough areas. One is the unenlightened, or the samsaric world, where the 6 realms abide. And you can see those in the bardo of dharmata, the 6 realms, and drawn to them because the colors of these realms are very attractive, soft, alluring, and you're warned, don't do it. Don't go to them. Instead, go towards the other beings that are up here in the Bardo of Dharmata, which consist of the Buddhas, all the enlightened beings, and the wrathful deities. There are 52 wrathful and 48 peaceful, I think. And these are harder to look at because they're very brilliant and vivid, but they take you to enlightenment itself. And then if you move on out of the Bardo of Dharmata, Dharmata means reality as it is, suchness. If you move on beyond that, you enter the Bardo of Becoming. It's called by various names, translated usually as the Bardo of Becoming. Francesca often translates it here as the Bardo of Existence. And there's one other way she translates it, which we'll get to. I've forgotten what it is, but we'll come to it as we go along. And this is the Bardo in which you are moving towards rebirth. Classically, it's called the 49-day Bardo, although she mentions different lengths like 7 days and 14 days and so forth. But the classic length is 49 days. And in the first part of it, it's like a dream state. And you see yourself with the body of a 7-year-old child that you were. And then in the last half, you see yourself with the body of the 7-year-old child you're going to be. And it ends with you entering one of the 6 realms and being reborn into samsara. If you are going to be reborn again and again, and throughout this chapter too, you are advised human rebirth if you can choose. The human rebirth is the one most appropriate for someone seeking enlightenment and freedom from suffering and confusion altogether. The other realms, God realm, jealous God, animal, hungry ghost, and hell,
It
hello?
looks. Oh yeah, John, you're breaking up a lot.
Yeah. How is it now?
It's good.
Okay. Should I pin myself or should we just do it with a,
No, I can do that.
yeah, but I mean, I'm wondering if it has an effect on freezing things up.
I don't think so.
Okay. So here we are. And we've gone through a lot of this with Michael last week. And now we're going to go through the second part of the last chapter of this book, which is the remainder of these teachings. So I'll just launch into it. This is a terrific chapter. It's got terrific material in it. And we'll see. So the book explains there are 2 principal methods that can be applied to avoiding rebirth. The first is stopping the person who is entering and closing the womb door that is about to be entered. This is similar to the instruction that has been given, emphasizing again that if one does not have the empowerment of any specific deity, one should meditate on Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, and the Buddha, who is Amitabha in other form. The person in the Bardo simply merges with the luminous emptiness of the deity's essence and does not proceed any further toward rebirth. Here's a person we haven't seen in a while. But if that doesn't work, then there are 5 other ways of shutting the womb door, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. It says, now when the bardo of existence dawns upon me, the bardo of existence is the bardo of becoming, this bardo, the 49-day bardo, I will hold my aspiration one pointedly in mind and strive to prolong the course of good karma. I will close the womb door and remember resistance. I'm going to avoid being reborn into samsara and confusion. This is the time for strength of mind and pure vision. Abandon jealousy and meditate on the Guru, his father and mother. So we'll go into this a bit. Concentrating on our aspiration toward awakening is extremely important at this point because of the unprecedented power of the mind in the bardo, so that whatever we think of is immediately fulfilled. In the bardo, you're 9 times smarter than you are in daily life. And what you think of immediately comes to mind, and fulfillment comes much faster. Even a fleeting thought of fear can completely unbalance us, or a moment of nostalgia can send us hurtling towards rebirth in this period. This is what we have to look forward to, all of us. And a lot of us are getting closer and closer. Equally, we can be liberated by an instant of recognition. The effect of applying single-minded concentration at this time, concentration on awareness, is comparable to controlling a horse with a bridle or using a catapult to fire a missile. Prolonging the course of good karma means continuously reinforcing the chain reaction created by positive thoughts and actions. Somebody need to mute themselves? We're getting some background noise. So prolonging the course of good karma means continuously reinforcing the chain reaction created by positive thoughts and actions by extending it instead of deviating from it into fear, anger, attachment, and other negative emotions. The fundamental nature of all sentient beings is basic goodness, the state of samantabhadra. This is what the Shambhala teachings are all about. Basic goodness. This is our fundamental nature. We come back to it. But through ignorance, we have cut off our connection to our source. So hearing these instructions in the bardo is like mending a broken water main. With its help, the vital link is reestablished. The current of positive cause and effect will flow along steadily and lead us back to our own natural perfection. The verse says we must abandon jealousy. And what this means is that in this bardo, we continuously see, if we were looking at the human realm, we see our mother and father copulating. We feel attraction, lust, and passion toward the parent of the opposite sex, and aversion, hatred, and aggression toward the parent of the same sex. This is what propels us, and he calls this person at this point a Gandharva. It's like a spirit of awakening. What it propels it into the womb, entering in between the male and female essences of the parents. It is as though a door had opened for us, inviting us to enter. Closing the womb door really means cutting off the mental conditions required for entering a womb by transforming our perceptions and attitude toward it. So, there are 5 main ways of doing this. The first is to imagine the couple that you are looking at from the bardo of becoming as the embodiment of the Guru in male and female form. Instead of an ordinary man and woman driven by lust, we see our Guru immersed in the samadhi of supreme bliss with his or her spiritual consort. This pure perception completely changes our attitude. We feel intense devotion and ask them for teachings. As a result, we merge with the spaciousness of their awakened mind instead of being enticed into the web of samsara. And this, we're being told in advance, is what we will see if we have that opportunity in the bardo of becoming, the 49-day bardo. The second instruction for closing the womb door so that you're not going to be reborn into samsara, which is not a good thing, If that does not succeed, the previous, we should meditate on the couple as our chosen deity. Now, for those of you who have Yidam practice, that's what it's talking about. Or for those of you who have been introduced to the meditation on Abhitama or Avalokiteshvara, manifestations of compassion, that's what this is referring to. So we should meditate on our chosen deity. Where am I? Or as Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, in union with his consort. The male and female principles embody the inseparable union of appearance and emptiness. That's what male and female are about. The male is appearance and the female is emptiness, showing us directly the illusory nature of everything we see. We should mentally make offerings to them and ask them to grant us spiritual realization. This method and the first relate to the practice in daily life of trying to perceive whatever arises as the expression of the guru or the deity, as wisdom, as enlightened mind, as especially as emptiness and luminosity. This world is empty. It has no intrinsic being at all. It's a constant chimera of manifestation, and yet it glows with the pink of the cheek, with the sound of the voice, with the smell of dinner, whatever it may be. That's the luminosity. With this kind of sacred vision, seeing the world as empty and luminous, we do not need to become entangled in each new situation that arises. Every experience is recognized as an expression of the awakened state. Letting go of the egoistic agenda that normally influences all our thoughts, words, and actions. We're always acting out of ego. What's it going to do for me or to me? Letting go of that, but we still find ourselves at the very threshold of the womb. So the third instruction, this is the first and the second we've just had. The second one is to see this world as empty and luminous. The third instruction is turning away from passion and aggression by contemplating the dreadful consequences of entering under their influence. Yeah. At this point, you can lose consciousness. They're talking about the Gandharva. I'm sorry, I'm getting interrupted here. Hold on a second. Here we go, I hope. Okay. Are we still recording? We are. So, the third instruction is to turn away from passion and aggression by contemplating their dreadful consequences of entering the womb under their influence. So the Gandharva, that's this being, this pure being that you have become, loses consciousness. This is the end of the Gandharva state. From that moment on, the next life begins. There are many sources describing the evolution of the embryo in the womb, derived from ancient Indian medical theory. The whole process is said to cause great discomfort. Existence in the womb is like being in a prison, and birth is extremely painful. Here the text mentions being reborn in an animal realm as a very real possibility. This reminder of the suffering of samsara is a powerful warning against giving in to passion and aggression. She's got a quote here. You will open your eyes and find you have come back as a puppy. Previously you were a human, but now you have become a dog. So you will suffer in a kennel, or else in a pigsty, an anthill, or a wormhill. Or maybe you may be born as a young bull or goat or lamb. You cannot return here. Don't do it. You will endure all kinds of misery in a state of great delusion and stupidity. Circling like this around the 6 realms of the hell beings, the hungry ghosts, and so on, you will be tormented by endless suffering. There is nothing more powerful than this, or terrifying than this. And this is describing that in the bardo of becoming, you have one of the opportunities is to be reborn into one of the realms, and they're all samsaric. The human realm is better. It's not as pleasurable as the God realm, but it's the realm most conducive to achieving enlightenment and waking up. The traditional Buddhist view is that we circle around the 6 realms again and again over immense periods of time. To be born in a different realm requires a complete transformation of our whole outlook. We become an animal, or we become a god, and it's very, very different. So to say that one suddenly awakens in the body of a puppy does not mean that one would have a human consciousness. You're going to be reborn with an animal consciousness. Above all, the warning is relevant during this life, for even now we seldom notice when we are slipping into the states of mind of the lower realms. When you get angry, or that's a problem of mine. You get angry, it just pops, and suddenly you're in a hellish place, or you begin to act with stupidly, and you like an animal, or whatever it may be. The instruction here is to meditate on this resolution. And here's the resolution. Alas, for a sentient being of evil karma such as I, although I have circled around samsara many times before, I am still wandering about like this as a result of passion and aggression and ignorance. If I go on feeling passion and aggression and ignorance in this way, I shall wander endlessly in samsara and be in danger of sinking down into the ocean of suffering for a long time. So now I feel absolutely no passion, or I shall feel absolutely no passion or aggression or ignorance. Concentrating on this powerful resolve will destroy the precondition for entering a womb. So the womb door will be shut if you do this. The 4th instruction for shutting the womb door, if that method isn't successful, the previous one, the 4th technique is to meditate on the unreality of all our experiences. Both the terrors of the bardo and the apparent refuge offered by our future parents arise in our own mind. And that mind itself is essentially illusory and non-existent. We take what is not real to be real and what does not exist to exist, which is why we are trapped in samsara. The text quotes the traditional analogies that apply to every aspect of life. Now, the terms of the bardo and the apparent refuge offered by our future parents are all like dreams, like magic, like echoes, like castles in the air, like mirages, like reflections, like optical illusions, like the moon and water. They are not real, even for a moment. Certainly they are not true, but false. So all these ideas that we have about what we're meant to become and what we are becoming are false. This meditation is extremely powerful because it directly undermines belief in duality and self. The entrance to rebirth is automatically closed because there is no longer any sense of an individual to be reborn. This is something I would recommend that you study again and again, that I study again and again. The final method of closing the womb door is essentially a dzogchen, great perfection, meditation on the luminosity and emptiness of mind, the simplest of all teachings. And because it's so simple, it's utterly sophisticated and requires a teacher and your application. And here is a quote. "O child of awakened family, if even after doing that the womb door is not closed, now it should be closed by the 5th method, meditation on luminosity and emptiness. And this is the most effortless, utterly profound. You're meditating on reality. In the Dzogchen teachings, this is called trekchit. Trekchit means cutting through confusion. Cutting through to what? Cutting through to this, the purity of this world and the luminosity of it. And the meditation should be done in this way. Quote, everything that exists is my own mind, and this mind is emptiness. Read that. Everything that exists is my own mind, right now. And that mind is emptiness, unborn and unobstructed. As you contemplate this thought, let your mind rest naturally and easily within itself in its own way, like water poured into water. Self-contained, like water poured into water. This is Dzogchen, great perfection, ultimate simplicity and ease. It's self-contained, loose, open, and relaxed, so that your mind is not spoiled by anything artificial. This will definitely close the womb door to all kinds of rebirth, all four kinds, the previous ones. It is quite certain. Meditate like this again and again until it is closed. And in order to do this, you need a relationship with a teacher who can teach you how to rest in emptiness and luminosity, the trekchit of the great perfection. Dzogchen means great perfection. 603. I think let's have a pause here and see if anybody has some questions. Yeah, Barry, could you show? That's great. Anybody like to make a comment or ask a question? This is such profound material.
I have a question.
Who was that's Vicky.
It's Vicky. Sorry, it's dark here. Why is this being a 7-year-old child? Why is it a 7-year-old child? I guess I'm wondering about.
Who knows? I mean, you get all different versions of this. I don't know. And I don't think it really matters much, because you can also see yourself as a 40-year-old woman. You know, there are no strict rules about this. This is a dream state, the bardo of becoming. It's literally all mental. So when they talk about it being 49 days, that's figurative. There is no sun and moon rising. You know, it's not like we've got physical days and nights. It's all about your experience. And what they're talking about, the reason they talk about a 7-year-old child is that the mind is very, very, on the one hand, powerful, 9 times more intelligent, and on the other hand, very unformed, you know, without prejudice, without preconception. And so it's very innocent, this mind. And the same thing with the mind of a 7-year-old child that you're going to be, you're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
It's very...
Yeah. So when we see the parents copulating, and you said, you know, you're attracted to one, but you said you're also aversive to the other, or jealous of the other, and you're saying turn away from that and see them as deities in your own mind.
Yes.
and ask them for guidance and wisdom. Is that it?
We don't really have to go over this again and again, but I'm really directing you to these 5 techniques here.
Right.
The most profound one is to come back to the real world, this world, real, without preconception, with an open mind, the mind of meditation, the mind that we practice every day, morning and night, when we meditate. It's this mind of complete open awareness. That's the most powerful and profound of all techniques dealing with the bardos. This is why we're training in meditation. To begin to see this world that we're living in here, instead of seeing it as a collection of solid rocks and stars and windows and floors and people, that we see it as a constant creation, manifestation of mind, colored by our feelings at the moment, aversion and attraction and depression and elation, all of it. And when we begin to see that, we begin to realize that we're in this fluid, ever changing, constantly changing, instant by instant presentation. And it's our tendency, our constant habit to look at this and say, oh, this is the real world, I'm going back to this, that traps us in samsara. So we want to awaken from that. Anybody else before we move on? I want all of you to get to the point of studying Dzogchen. Vicky, and Judith, I mean. You're muted, Judith.
Yeah, I can't seem to find what page we're on.
We started on 357. I don't know what we've gotten to. I'm working with my notes. Anybody else?
Oh, thanks.
Okay. So we'll just go on. I can't even remember where I left off. So the final instructions in these teachings are concerned with choosing the best possible rebirth. The point of giving all the details that follow is to make a sense of the bewildering experience the dead person goes through, to provide some kind of map for this journey into unknown territory where we are driven by karma toward the ripening of the seeds we have sown. So within the colored lights of the six realms, features of their landscapes begin to appear as we approach them. Remember the six realms, right? Of samsara. Perhaps we are drawn very strongly toward one realm, so we perceive only that. Or perhaps we see glimpses of other realms as different aspects of our karma come to the fore. Our habits, our preconditionings come to the fore and make it so that we see jealousy, or we see desire, or we see whatever it may be. All the time we are desperately searching for somewhere to hide, so wherever we see will appear as a place of refuge. Yeah, we're lost in this dream, and we're looking for a place of security. This is when we should think of resistance, as the verse says. The book describes the signs and characteristics of each of the realms, so that if we are about to be born in them, we can recognize the indications and resist the lure of entering a womb. In choosing a new place of birth, the most important thing to consider is the opportunities it provides for practicing the Dharma. From this point of view, the human realm is regarded as the very best, even better than the higher realms of the gods and jealous gods. The next best is the, I'm not sure, Madel's going to tell us. The human realm consists of 4 regions or continents. This is the mythic, prehistoric view of the world. All around Mount Meru. Mount Meru is a mountain in the center of the world, and these 4 continents are grouped around it, the north, south, east, and west. This is the axis of our world system, but they are not all equally suitable. We don't want to be reborn in the eastern, northern, or western continents, and then it describes what we'll see in each one. For instance, it's in the eastern one that we see a lake with geese swimming. Western, we see a lake where horses are grazing. The sign of the northern continent is a lake surrounded by trees and cattle. These are all places of wealth and happiness, but they are too materialistic, and the Dharma does not flourish there. This is like in the dream. Remember, you're in the dream state. You've died. The real world is just gone, or the so-called real world. So they should be avoided. Only the southern continent, corresponding to our world, has conditions that support Dharma. If we have the karmic qualifications to be born there, we shall see many luxurious houses, and we should enter them to find our future parents. We may also see visions of other realms. If we're going to be reborn into the realm of the gods, we see heavenly palaces. Although the gods are considered to be altogether too easy and pleasant for the serious pursuit of Dharma, it does possess the realm of the gods, many excellent qualities, so we should enter it if we can, it says. I'm not sure why, because it's definitely a dead end. The jealous gods are violent and aggressive, although they share the nature of the gods, so we should try hard not to be drawn into their realm. If we're going to be born as animals, everything will appear as through a mist, and we dimly perceive the habitations of various kinds of creatures, caves, rocks, holes in the ground, etc. And we should definitely not go into them. And then the realm of the hungry ghosts, he describes shadowy and dark. These are beings that are tormented by an endless feeling of insufficiency, hunger. We should persevere in resisting any thought of entering the realms of the hungry ghosts. And lastly, the signs of the hell realm, stay away. It seems that we will be traveling along a black road where there are black and red dwellings, black pits and islands of dense, gloomy darkness. We may have to enter helplessly, against our will, lured by the songs of those with evil karma. So we should be extremely careful and resist as strongly as possible. All the time we are being pursued by the illusory manifestations of karma, the demons, murderers, and avengers. The whole atmosphere is terrifying. Then we become attached to our hiding place, if we find a hiding place, and are too frightened to come out, so we end up taking a body in that realm. And then there's this profound instruction. The instruction is to call upon the help of the wrathful deities for protection, because these deities are wrathful in wisdom. All the wrathful deities are our helpers. Their wrath is the wrath of true wisdom. It cuts through ignorance and stupidity. Even though we were afraid of them when they appeared early on, now we are in such desperate straits, we have another opportunity to understand their profound meaning as the embodiments of the most powerful energy of our own awakened nature. If we have previously meditated on a wrathful form, it is best to visualize that one. Otherwise, we can call on the great supreme Haruka or on Hayagriva or Vajrapani if we learn about these wrathful manifestations of the Padma and Vajra families. So when you see these wrathful beings, don't regard them as enemies. Regard them as your friends. And in an earlier part of the book, it said, and then they will turn into like little stuffed animals. It does not really matter which deity is chosen. The point is that we should be able to call it to mind immediately and vividly in an emergency. The deity should be imagined with a huge body and bulging limbs, standing in a terrifying attitude of wrath that crushes all evil forces into dust. Separated from the avengers by adhisthana, by blessing. You're separated by blessing and compassion. You will have the power to choose a womb door. This is the true profound secret of the instruction, so understand it well. This meditation removes the immediate overwhelming sense of fear and danger so that we can pause and give thought to our next life. There are 4 ways of being born. Birth from an egg and birth from a womb, and result from the union of 2 parents. Insects and other primitive organisms are spontaneously produced from warmth and moisture. That's what is taught. For instance, in a dung heap, which attracts the Gandharvas, by its smell. Other sentient beings with immaterial mental bodies like gods, hungry ghosts, evil spirits, and hell beings are miraculously born without any outside agency. The gods of the formless realm arise, this is pure mental states, which we've been through before, arise from the attainment of samadhi, this pure state of concentration. In the volatile state of the bardo, it is possible to enter lower kinds of existence through a sudden transformation of our mental attitude. So we should guard against this happening. The best protection is Mahamudra, or Dzogchen meditation. Meditation on this world as being magical, real, luminous, and empty. We should simply try to understand the illusory nature of everything and watch it all unfold without being drawn in. As a last resort, we should at least avoid feeling attracted to anything and meditate on Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. And we haven't been taught how to do that, so maybe we will be in the future. Michael and I will have to get together. By the way, Michael couldn't be here this evening, if you've noticed. And he told us about that, and told me about that. Yeah, it's the ideal of many Buddhists to go to Amitabha's realm of bliss. Transference is achieved by intense concentration on the resolve to escape samsara and the longing to go to that pure land. As soon as we think of our chosen pure land with complete faith, we shall instantly find ourselves there. If transference is not successful, then the only course left is to choose a suitable womb to enter. And even though it is an impure, samsaric womb door, and of course the womb, if we're going to enter a womb, we want it to be human. Because it's only from the human realm that one can effectively tread the path to Buddhahood. It is important not to be deceived by our own preconceptions under the influence of karma. As in life, it is very easy to think that a certain course of action will bring us happiness when everyone else can plainly see that it will be disastrous, or to reject a more difficult choice that is really for the best. The true, profound, essential secret is to enter the supreme state of equilibrium in which there is no good or bad, acceptance, rejection, passion, or aggression. We should make a firm resolve to be born in a situation where we can practice Dharma and be of benefit to living beings. This is the way to happiness. This is the way to release from the confusion and suffering of samsara and the samsaric realms. This might mean being born into a position of power and influence, either worldly or spiritual, or simply as the child of a religious family whose practice is pure and genuine. Then, when we find suitable parents, we should think of the mother's womb as a divine place and enter it requesting all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for their adhisthana, for their blessing. And all of us who have found our way to this study of the Dharma, this is not accident. It's the result of the karma that we have accrued in previous lives. We are being prepared. We are preparing ourselves. O child of awakened family, if you do not know how to choose a womb door and cannot part from passion and aggression, whatever of these experiences may arise, call on the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and take refuge in them. Supplicate the Lord of great compassion, Avalokiteshvara. Go on with your head held high. Give up attachment and longing for the friends and family, sons and daughters you have left behind. They cannot help you. And this is so true. Think of all of them you've already left behind who cannot help you. Enter now into the blue light of the human realm, or the white light of the realm of the gods, and enter the jeweled palaces and pleasure gardens. This is the final instruction of liberation through hearing. Liberation through hearing, remember, this is the Book of the Dead that we're enjoined to read now, before we die, and then have read to us after we've died. The Book of the Dead ends by emphasizing once again the great value and usefulness of reading it aloud to those who have died. It says, with so many different instructions pointing out the nature of the bardo experiences, like steps of a ladder, people of all levels of understanding will recognize at one stage or another, or else achieve a good rebirth where they will meet a true spiritual friend and teacher. It is easy to reach and influence the consciousness of the dead because they have mental and not physical bodies. They have supernatural perception, extremely clear and intelligent. And this is true of people who have just died that you know. And the power to travel instantly wherever they wish, because it's all mental. So however far away they have wandered, they will come when they are called and listen to the teachings. And then this is so interesting. The responsiveness of the mind in the bardo is compared to a floating huge tree trunk in water in order to transport it easily, while on dry land, even 100 men would not be able to move it. But in water, anybody can just push it. Not only should liberation through hearing be read aloud to the dead, but everyone should read it for themselves, the Book of the Dead. Make sure that they really understand its meaning and learn the important points by heart, especially when death draws near. This teaching does not need any practice. It is profound instruction that liberates just by being seen or heard or read. And if you read it now, when you die and your intelligence is 9 times more acute in the bardo, you will recall it so easily. Now we can appreciate the meaning of this statement, which has been repeated so often. It does not mean that we need to do no practice of any kind during this life, but that this teaching, because of its special nature, needs no specific preliminary training to be effective. The instructions point out the nature of mind so clearly and directly that they easily link to whatever we have previously practiced or realized. In addition, the teachings are imbued with the power of blessing, adhisthana, flowing to us through a long lineage of awakened beings, from the primordial Buddha mind itself, through Shakyamuni Buddha, the precious Guru Padmakara, the Padmasambhava, the discoverer Karma Lingpa, whom we haven't studied, right down to the great masters of our own time, such as Trungpa Rinpoche, who transmit these teachings in a way that speaks to our hearts. As the closing words say, this is of the closing of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Achieving Liberation in the Bardo. Even if the Buddhas of the past, present, and future were to search, they would not find a better teaching than this. In relation to everyday life, the bardo of existence represents each new moment, just as it is about to arise. Every thought, every action, and every form of expression we make is conditioned by the past and in turn shapes the future. But the chain of cause and effect is not unalterable. It can be interrupted and transformed by recognizing its illusory nature, this chain of cause and effect, karma, and by tapping into the inconceivable energy of our natural awakened state. We can most easily catch the moment of coming into existence when an emotional mood or frame of mind is starting to develop. We are not yet committed to the emerging feeling of anger, jealousy, or desire, but we can see it coming. Whatever it may be, and we can see that it is allowed to manifest, it will cause suffering. So when each of us has their habitual neurotic, emotional things, we can begin to cut them off and not go down that path of, it is always a story that arouses this feeling of emotion and energy. They will just cause suffering. It may still be possible at this stage to avert that suffering and make a direct connection with our basic sanity and goodness. And this is the practice. When we get caught up in what it might be, depression, resentment, anger, lust, desire, we can begin, if we can see it as it is happening, we can cut it and come back into clear, open awareness of this luminous, empty state of real. One of the most effective ways of doing this is to remember our deity or spiritual guide, a teacher that you've had that has been meaningful for you, especially whatever tradition we follow. Often the stronger the emotion, the greater the opportunity there is for a sudden glimpse of clarity. This is an opportunity that we have, that each one of us, including, I'm talking to myself, should be seizing. The intense energy of the poisons is transmuted into a powerful feeling of the presence of the wrathful protecting deities, forcefully cutting off the flow of negative karma. Sacred vision is the all-important practice. We come back to seeing this world as sacred, as empty, and as beautifully luminous. Seeing the whole environment as a pure land, and ourselves and all the other beings in it as deities. Wow. That's saying a lot. We're being enjoined to step out of this world that we have been living in for so long, decades, into a world of fresh, profound, meaningful beauty. We may wish we could stop the future's unfolding and go back to the past, but at every moment the past dies and we cannot return to it, just as we cannot re-enter our old bodies after death. The sense of ego depends on clinging to the past. By seeing this clearly and letting go, we can prevent our past mistakes from repeating themselves over and over again. The sense of ego depends on clinging to the past. That's something we should just remember, remember, remember. I was telling somebody the other day, when I was a kid, I worked on ships. And on a particular ship, I was in an engine room and the engineer, who was my boss, was this old guy from Alabama who spoke with a thick Alabama accent. And one day I was doing something, we were cleaning out a pipe, and I told him, Don, don't forget, this, blah, blah, blah. And he said, forget? Hell, it's engraven on my eyeballs. I've never forgotten that one. And so this sense of ego depends on clinging to the past. By seeing this clearly and letting go of that memory that's engraven on our eyeballs, we can prevent our past mistakes from repeating themselves over and over. If the positive patterns emerge in our mind stream, we may feel full of joy and hope, waking up in a cheerful mood and looking forward to the next phase in our lives. Then we should try not to enter it blindly and selfishly, but make use of it to increase our understanding and to benefit others. This is the way we let go of this habit of self-aggrandizement and mentally share our happiness with all sentient beings. If we have no choice but to enter a painful situation, we can make an aspiration to make the suffering of all beings into our own pain. This is Tonglen. As Trungpa Rinpoche put it, the essential quality of this bardo is the threshold between grasping with hunger and giving up hope. Hunger means grasping its solidity, permanence, with a form that will define us and make us real. No such thing. The ego continually wants to reinforce its existence, to recreate itself and fulfill itself, and this way lies suffering. Giving up hope means relaxing into the openness of being where the magical play of forms takes place as if in a dance. The three kinds of bardo experience that we encounter when we die reveal the three dimensions of the awakened state. The first, at the final moment of the bardo of dying, we come face to face with the luminous emptiness of the Dharmakaya, our central mind. And this I described before, when your body shuts down and then all the different aspects of the mind gather in the heart, there is a moment when you can see the Buddha, you can see the awakened state, if you've trained, if you've practiced. And that's what this is describing, seeing the Dharmakaya. And it's like, they describe that state as like a child leaping into its mother's lap or arms. The second way, in the bardo of Dharmata, that's the second of the death bardos, the bardo of becoming, the bardo of reality. We experience the visions of our innate deities, see the wrathful and peaceful deities, the expressive energy of the Sambhogakaya. And here you can be drawn into awakening, awareness, by making friends and being friends with these deities, wrathful and peaceful. And they say it's easier with the wrathful ones than with the peaceful. The peaceful are so brilliant and intense that it's hard to even approach them. But you can. I don't mean to discourage you. And at the end of the bardo of existence, this is what we've been talking about, the 49 days, we take on a bodily form, the manifestation of the Nirmanakaya. And there we can achieve enlightenment just as we can in this bodily form, manifestation of the Nirmanakaya. According to our degree of recognition at any stage, we can reach a corresponding level of awakening until we are finally able to recognize the basic luminosity, and we're shifting our allegiance. It's like she says, like the meeting of a long separated mother and child, and we are shifting our allegiance from ourselves and self-aggrandizement, the boosting up of ourselves, to this reality. Everything that is not the awakened state is bardo. We are always in the bardo state, just as the three kayas are always present in our lives. As the past dissolves, the mind merges with the non-existence of everything that exists. The omnipresent openness of space, the totality from which all phenomena arise and to which they return. This is the Dharmakaya. Everything. This image, this voice, this lecture, whatever you're feeling, thinking, about to do, arises and disappears, and rises from and disappears back into the Dharmakaya. In the gap between the disappearance of one thought and the arising of the next, the mind rests in a state of clarity, luminous awareness, vibrant with a magical display of energy. This is the Sambhogakaya, in which we appreciate all of these phenomena, the phenomenal world and their vividness. As each new moment of consciousness arises, it gives form to the mind's natural awakening qualities and brings them to life in this world as the continual manifestation of body, speech, and mind, the Nirmanakaya, and here we all are. Recognition is the keynote of this whole teaching so that we don't get sucked into the dream. But we cannot recognize what we have never met. So its message to us during this life is to get to know all these manifestations of mind while there is still time. All meditation is about getting to know the mind. First, our individual minds, and then the essence of mind itself with the three kayas. There is no bardo outside the mind, no gods or demons outside the mind, no existence of awakening outside the mind. If we learn to know our mind during this life, we shall understand that the same mind continues after death, and that whatever occurs after death also happens here and now. So here's the final verse from the root verses of the 6 bardos, admonishing us not to keep returning to samsara time after time with nothing to show for it. Here's this admonishment. Heedless mind without a thought of death's approach, now that the meaningless business of life is accomplished, to come back empty again, this time is utterly deluded. Recognition is the sacred divine dharma that you need. So why not practice divine dharma at this very moment? Thus have the great siddhas spoken, if you do not keep your guru's teaching in your heart, will you not be a traitor to yourself? Without the practice that makes recognition possible, it is doubtful that we shall actually see any of the appearances that are described in such detail. These descriptions are meant for people who are able to retain some level of awareness, and that's what we're practicing now. Through death, to clarify what is taking place and remind them of the previous experiences. Some may be aware of dazzling light and flashing colors or tremendous waves of sound. Those people will probably feel buffeted by rapidly changing emotions without understanding their cause. There will be feelings of intense awe, of attraction and desire in one direction, and hatred and terror in another, but above all, of complete bewilderment. This is if we haven't learned how to be aware. Everything the text describes will be present, since it is naturally within the mind. The luminosity of our essential natures is there. Our innate deities are there. The 6 realms are there. And the karmic effects of our past actions are there. But we shall not perceive them clearly or know them for what they are unless we have shifted our allegiance. Our allegiance from dream, hope, fear, imagination, to this clear awareness of emptiness and luminosity of this life. Just as we cannot discard the use of language, we cannot discard these symbolic forms of all of the wrathful and peaceful deities. Until we have fully accomplished the ultimate formless realization, naked reality must remain clothed with imagery. And that's what we've been doing tonight. Thus, the inconceivable awakened state ceaselessly plays through the magical phenomena of life and death. And the bardos, and transparently reveals itself to the eye of sacred vision. And then it closes with this poem called Aspiration. The limitless expanse of emptiness is luminous with all-pervading light. This is what we live in now. In clear mind sky free from complexities, the rainbow of phenomena shines forth. This is describing the real. Whether neither confusion nor freedom has ever existed, the Father and Mother of all, universal goodness, dwell in the secret great bliss beyond thought, yet reveal the miracles of love's unceasing play, which is what this world is, love's unceasing play. Whatever the eye sees is sacred vision. Whatever the ear hears, the voice of truth. Whatever thought arises in the mind, its own self-liberated self-awareness, may all awaken to that great perfection. And that finishes this teaching for tonight. We could have a discussion if you like. Sure is a lot of that in there. Yeah. Complaints, praise, comments. Judy.
I'm so glad that you and Michael have exposed us to this material. It is too much to take in. I think for me anyway, I would benefit from going through this book about 3 times together with you. And I hope we will return to it. But bravo for the presentation and thank you. And I hope we will do more of this and maybe do the Tibetan book together at some point soon.
What we're going to do is we're going to move into something a little bit different next time. We're going to take a brief break now
Okay.
because of what's going on with our group meditation retreat. When we come back, we're going to go off on a book that Michael likes a lot, and which I've been reading and like too. It's Mingyur Rinpoche's In Love with the World. And it's very different, a book, very different material. We'll go through that, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's really lovely, really lovely. And then we'll come back to the death teachings. And I think this is my idea. And I'm open to discussion with everybody, including Michael and Barry, that what we do is we go through Dzogchen Ponlop Rinpoche's book, Mind Beyond Death, which treats a lot of this material that we've covered here in a much more cool, intellectual, clear fashion. And I think that you would all benefit from it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that's kind of the view of the future that we have right now, especially what's really going to happen is Mingyur Rinpoche's book, In Love with the World. And then after that, maybe Dzogchen Ponlop's book, which I've taught with other people many times, and I think it would be of great benefit to you. Anybody here already studied Dzogchen Ponlop's book, Mind Beyond Death? No.
I think we've had it once, haven't we?
Good question.
Yeah, I bought it. So I think it's been brought up before.
Yeah, I think we did go through it one time.
We
We did.
we did it?
Yeah, but I mean, it certainly merits redoing.
Oh,
Yes.
all of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them are once and done for sure.
Ed, are you saying we've read Mind Beyond Death in
I
class?
think we did.
I mean, I've got it underlined. I got all my marker in it, so I did read it. Not something
I
that I
think
would
we
have picked
did.
up and read myself.
I
Hey,
have it
we-
too, but I don't feel like we read it for some reason.
I don't think we did all of it. I think we may have selectively looked at
A
parts of it.
couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this will be the end of the death teachings for us for a while. I just thought this.
This has also been the second time we've done, Fremantle's book.
I wasn't in on that, but
Right.
Are you
the
sure?
other
I
ones,
don't
I think
remember
Mind
that.
Beyond Death, we did. But let's do it again. I mean, any of them are worth going over and over.
More.
I think your idea of going to Mingyur Rinpoche is great. I mean, maybe he's just what we need right now. I think he's got his feet on the ground, and he's positive, and he's realistic, and I think that's a great idea myself.
I'm listening to In Love with the World now. I got it on audiobook.
Oh yeah, how do you like it?
Very much. He's so open-minded. I love it.
Yeah.
He has a course of study called Vajrayana Online that you subscribe to, and it's a constant course. It's a constantly continuing course that has different stages, but really reworks the material in different forms and from different perspectives. And it's a great basis. It keeps you in touch with basic 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 Buddhist precepts, and then you'd be surprised how it pulls you forward here and there. So Vajrayana Online, it's Tergar, Tergar, and it's a whole institution that you can learn a lot.
Thank you. Any more comments, or should we save it for tomorrow?
Can I ask a quick question about Pure Land?
I'm not sure we're having a discussion group tomorrow. I definitely will not be there. Sorry.
Oh, I just had a question about Pure Land. When we're meditating, luminous emptiness, and we come back, is Pure Land available at that moment?
Pure Land is available all the time.
Right.
And really, it's characterized by, among other things, luminous emptiness.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Jen, I kind of paraphrase what you just say. You just said everything is available all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to you, John, and Michael and Barry for reading these books, and I'm just so glad that I can do this with you guys because
Oh,
it's amazing. Great book.
you're welcome, and it's a terrific opportunity for us too. Somebody's saying something, but I can't hear
Is that
it.
you?
Judith. No, I think it's Judith talking in the background to someone.
No, her mic's off.
It was on a second ago.
Oh, well,
I just turned her off.
got it. Okay.
Well, everybody, shall we say goodnight? I have to ask Michael if he's going to be running the discussion group, so you should check tomorrow if you're interested in participating. I won't be there. Val and I have commitments. So let's say the closing chants. Who wants to lead? I'll put them up. Audro's not here, I don't think. No? Anybody want to lead the chants? Yeah. You are Dan. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, let me get them. Sorry.
We're just doing dedication of merit, right?
Right.
Yep. Okay. We will close by dedicating the merit generated by our practice to the benefit of all sentient beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. By the confidence of the golden sun of the great East, may the lotus garden of the Rigdon's wisdom bloom. May the dark ignorance of sentient beings be dispelled. May all beings enjoy profound, brilliant glory.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, John. This has
Thank
been
Thank you,
wonderful.
everyone.
Good evening.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Thanks.
Night.
Night all.
Good night.
Night.
Night and thank you.
John, are you coming into New York before the retreat?
Yeah, hold on, let me turn off the recording.